Hello everyone, my name is Boulevard here for GiantSlayerTV to bring you the top 3 decks of Fight Night Legends. In this series, we'll follow along with Fight Night Legends every single week and take a look at top performing decks, popular decks, and decks to keep an eye on. Before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on all the latest content, and if you're interested in playing in a future Fight Night Legends, you can find an application to do so at giantslayer.tv/LOR. There you'll fill out a form of some basic information like your name, country of residence, and some information about your previous accomplishments in Legends of Runeterra. While we're always looking to highlight new talent, this is still a competitive tournament. To break down exactly what it is, Fight Night Legends is an 8-person invitational tournament that takes place on Thursday, Friday, and Monday for Brazil, Europe, and the Americas respectively. The event runs in a standard Riot Lock format, meaning each player brings 3 decks with no overlapping champions or region combinations, and bans one of the opponent's decks to play a best of 3 in which they must win with their 2 unbanned decks. The event is double elimination, with the top 2 players being invited back next week for a chance to prove themselves once again. Previously on Fight Night Legends, Brazil re-entered the mix with easy to win, taking home a reverse sweep in the grand finals with Scouts, Demacia Yordles in Arms, and Sivir Akshan. It's an old school lineup, and the triple Demacia style is one we're likely to see repeated over the next few weeks. Second place went to Rod's MTG on Darkness, Zoe Aphelios Lux, yes that's all one deck, and Bandletree. Definitely the more fun of the 2 lineups if you were to ask me, but not quite enough to take down the new Demacian standard. Next we had Fight Night Legends Europe, where Ghoster Driver went down in the first half but brought it back in a tight 6-game series with Scouts, Demacia Yordles in Arms, and Zed Shen. Again we see triple Demacia rise to the occasion, this time winning over Broken Ball on Lee Sin, Lulu Jinx, and Bandletree. It was up to the Americas to figure out how to stop the triple Demacia menace, and that's exactly what XX was able to do, taking home the crown with Spiders, Pirates, and Narzigs. Not only that, but he took down the best boogeyman to drive the point home, defeating Floppy Mudkip in the finals on Scouts, Demacia Yordles in Arms, and Sivir Akshan. While triple Demacia was just shy of taking home the three-peat, 2 wins and a 4th consecutive invite for Floppy Mudkip will have to be enough to satisfy the region for now. Now on to the top 3 decks of Fight Night Legends. Coming in at number 3, we have Sivir Akshan. Now, it says something that this was the quote-unquote weak link of the triple Demacia lineup in the eyes of some competitors last week, given how solid this deck is, with Ghoster Driver removing it from their lineup in favor of Zed Shen. I've criticized this deck in the past for having good weeks and bad weeks, with 2 weeks ago being a bad week, as more players chose to go the route of Nar Akshan. But as the meta continues to settle, it seems Demacia Yordles in Arms won the custody battle for everyone's favorite transformer. In fact, every top 4 lineup last week that had Sivir Akshan in it had a different Nar deck, so it is still up in the air as to which is better in a vacuum. But here in the real world, in a tournament environment, I think the numbers speak for themselves, as Sivir Akshan was in just shy of half of the top 4 lineups last week. The number 2 spot goes to one of the more hot topic decks of the week, Scouts. While it had a big showing 2 weeks ago, it actually had a lesser top 4 presence than Sivir Akshan did, with a few players seeing this deck as the odd man out. America's top 4 finisher Max Got the Tracks dropped it in favor of Trundle Timelines, and 3rd place EU finisher Badge Attack cut the deck for its biggest counter, Pantheon Yuumi. Now, it's not in question whether or not the deck is a solid choice, well with it winning 2 Fight Nights and all, and making number 2 on this list, but it wasn't enough to take number 1. Number 1 this week was my number 3 choice as a deck to watch last week, Demacia Yordles in Arms. Not only did this deck actually take half of the top 4 spots last week, but unlike the other 2 decks commonly paired with it, this one was seen as irreplaceable. In terms of actual performance, I'm going to have to quote Zed here and say the Unseen Blade is the deadliest, by which I mean this deck was banned in the Brazil finals, as well as both sets in the European finals. What Am I left it open in the Americas, and rather quickly lost to it before reverse sweeping Sivir Akshan. This deck is fast, self-replacing, has a non-insignificant amount of over-the-top damage with impact and pokey sticks, and is a lot stickier than a Bandle City deck should be thanks to the 3 Demacia spells it incorporates. If you want a more in-depth breakdown on our number 1 deck this week, we do have a deck tech featuring it on the channel already, and luckily, the list hasn't changed one bit since then. And that's going to do it for this week's top 3 decks of Fight Night Legends. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments which decks you think will be moving out of or into the top 3 next week.